Hello, and welcome to Andrew Broussard Watercolors. This is part two of kind of painting what I feel is an older style watercolor, something that I've been referring to as Victorian, just an 1800s feel with gouache and body color in addition to the watercolor. So I will link the first part down below. This is the second part. I'm not sure if it'll be a Patreon exclusive or not. To thank everybody on the Patreon for following and supporting, but just the general things. Of course, you're always allowed to follow along. You always have my express permission to sign your own name, and you have my express permission to sell anything to you when you follow along. That being said, if you like this channel and you like what I'm putting out there, please like, subscribe, follow, and consider supporting on the Patreon. With the Patreon, I take the money from those supplies and buy the supplies and produce more videos. And thank you to everybody that supports through there. I really appreciate it. It's really fantastic. So this is the second stage, and this is where it becomes even more experimental for me. I'm still finding different techniques and approaches that I want to use. And here I've been taking a fan brush and I've been using that with parallel lines to create the hatching. I'm using that to build up just textures and slight variations in tones and shadows. I'm not going too crazy with the tonal values, and I'm not going too crazy with the colors and the hues. I've never been good with the vocab language side of things, but that's something that I need to expand upon for these videos. Now for this one, I have been struggling with this tree line. And I've been pushing it up, pushing it down, and I want the tree line to really work with this edge right there. And it's loosely based off of the photo that I'm looking at. The light doesn't come like that. It's just kind of a curve in a street. There's the road that continues across, etc. The fan brush has been surprisingly fun. I've always kind of really avoided them just because it felt a little too stampish, whereas this a pattern taking place, but I don't think I was just using it in the right regard. Not that there's any right or wrong way, but it just seemed a little off. Now, the other brush that has been making quite a lot of usage in this has been the squirrel mop, and I'll place different values, kind of scrub those in. Get brighter as it comes closer. And I'm just kind of using the concept of aerial or atmospheric perspective. As you recede back into a picture plane, things will push more towards your blues, while as you come forward, you'll push more towards your yellows. Catch a little bit coming through here. Bring this shadow all the way across. All right. So like I said, it's kind of experimental, very experimental, back and forth with textures, shadows, and changing the value. So it's kind of not really a one and done. It's not as quick as the monochrome or other fast and loose that I do. But I find that I get results that I enjoy around the hour mark. So it's still a short time period for it. Something must have dried on my number one. And I try to dance my tree trunks and weave them in and out. We probably do a risky one and have it come out over that light. And even have some ground action that's pointing out and over. I do try to subscribe to my mentality of working the whole painting at once, meaning that I'm not sitting and working on this tree the whole time, and then once I find that it's done, I then move to the next spot. Mainly because, so I'm not doing that, mainly because I don't want to put more effort into one spot while not really giving other spots the attention that they deserve. I think one time in a video I heard Dennis Sheehan say, you know, if people are paying money for a painting, you know, they want all this movement and marks and brushstrokes. And of course, if you want to experiment with this, you can take it for as long as you want and just you know, see what you get out of it. If you want to go for just 30 minutes, or if you want to go 2 hours, or if you want to go a whole day, try it out. This is essentially, I don't know if it's still fiddling, because we are in a short time period with it, but it has valuable lessons in it. Let's see how I can get this guy. So a little whitewash and a little bit of light red oxide. I didn't even use any sap green. I'll grab a little bit of that and see just how it looks. So the sap green, convenience color. This field comes horizontally. Well, from left to right is the sugar cane. And I could create a little edge along that. Of course, it needs to recede to our spot. Everything's starting to recede and coming to that linear perspective. This is just some raw umber. Getting some lines and texture there. And grabbing the fan brush. Getting a little bit more texture in there. I could even do some more of that hatching that I was talking about. And I can hatch in these spots. This needs to come in a little bit tighter. Or I can grab the number 1 and put these guys here. I've been working on this loose swirl to create these growths. I can swirl this way. I have trouble swirling the other way. I'm curious if that's just me or if... Okay, there we go. It does it on the downstroke, that's what it is. And grabbing a little bit of white gouache on the number 1 does make for interesting tree trunks. That's a little too much. Let me mix a little bit of color into that. There we go. I probably need to attack this in a lighter fashion. Hey, Percy. Okay. Nope, that's not crawling on top. All right, so looking at this, we can play around some more. Let's see how much time we have. We're 12 minutes in. We could play around with the trees and add more to them, or we can do a dry off and then experiment with the gum arabic. And I think that's the direction I want to go in, is just showing you guys that. So let me pause this. Okay, so with the gum arabic, and I hit it with the blow dryer, and I can still feel some areas are tacky. So like I said, I think that this is an experiment I need to do at a later date, but I'm going to do it right now. You can see the gum arabic remaining in here. You can see how it cracked. I'm not sure how thick that is or why it cracked, but that's one of the reasons why I'm just reluctant to just put out gum arabic. You want to experiment and see what's going to happen in the long term with it. So as of right now, what I've been doing is taking the gum arabic, which the bottle has just been really hard to take the lid off. I'm going to pause it. All right, so I pour some in. It may have cracked. It just might be too thick in there. And that's why we'll have to look at paintings that I did that to down the line. Brush wise, I'm gonna try to figure out the right brush to apply this. Let's grab this Hake brush. I'm gonna wet it. And I've been adding some water in with just the brush. Now I don't have a recipe of how much I'm adding. It's kind of just dropping some in and filling the rest of it. But I'm thinking that that'll be down the line, something to look for. This one I'm going to grab a little bit of raw umber so we can kind of see the difference. Mix that in. I'm going to glaze it across. And then I've been grabbing water throughout. You see how some areas want to kind of bloom and act as a resist? I'm not quite sure what's happening in those spots just yet. Okay, so so far this has been one of the best applicators. And I'm really trying not to fiddle around on it too much. I need to get it to work in the first brush stroke, because that's another where you're putting more water, you're moving things around. And you can see how I now have some color on here in that spot. Okay, so I'm going to pause it. I'm going to hit it with a blow dryer. One thing that I did notice in previous experiments, I used a razor blade, and doing this, it wanted to lift up and fold at that spot. Let me pause the camera. And my blow dryer died. So that's just another thing that I have to purchase during this move. Fun, fun, fun. Anyway, that being said, I was able to dry off some before it died. You could see the streakiness of not getting consistent coverage. You could see some areas where it wanted to resist, and I'm not sure why. So I think that's why multiple coats have to take place. There's some areas where the gum arabic wants to sit in more concentrations. So I just need to figure out a way to get a homogeneous mixture of the water and the gum arabic. Some other things to note. It also helps with the matteness of the gouache. Gouache, I think, is mainly used now, or was used in like design, where it would be painted and it would be scanned, and it's not really reflective, so it was easy to scan and not have issues. But back in the day when it was being used, it was used in painting like this, and it just gave a more matte feel. So the gum arabic also helps get a little bit more pop to it. We could experiment painting further on top and bringing and pushing out tonal values and really getting it white right here and getting darker areas dark. But I think that I'm going to stop at this point because I need to get a new blow dryer, and going back and forth with the blow dryer is really helpful here. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed. Welcome to my new home, and I will be back soon with more videos. You all take care and have a great day. And bye.